Well, actually, the Czech Republic wasn't my first choice. I was studying French as a minor at my home university, and so I was looking for a place to study in France, ideally. However, after I kind of gathered together a realistic budget for my travels, I figured I needed to look elsewhere, have a few other options. And as I got to doing a little bit more research and talking with some people who had traveled before in Central Europe, I heard just really wonderful things about Prague and the Czech Republic, and that it was everyone's favorite place that they'd visited. So I looked a little bit further into it. There was a program that worked with my major, and here I am. So any advice that I would give to another American about traveling to Central Europe or to the Czech Republic specifically is just walk around, enjoy it. When you get here, just spending time out in the streets, meeting new people. That was some of my best experiences have just come from walking around and seeing just the beautiful buildings and all of the rich history that's here. Has been a really great experience. Something that I would recommend that other Americans be maybe aware of if they're choosing to study in the Czech Republic is, especially depending on where you come from in the US, these sorts of I guess codes of like social interaction and public interaction in the Czech Republic are a lot different than where I'm from, in Arkansas specifically. So in Arkansas there's like Southern hospitality, as they say, and so everyone kind of says hello as you're walking by, and that was something I'm really used to at home. And in the Czech Republic, people tend to kind of keep to themselves, and so that was kind of an adjustment that I had to make, so something to be aware of. So I study sociology, and actually whenever I started going to college, I was on track to study physical therapy, and so I didn't intend to study sociology at first. And then after about a year of being in that program, I was just finding myself kind of unexcited about going back each semester. And so kind of on a whim, I enrolled in a general sociology course, and I haven't looked back since. As sociology is, a study of social structures and behavior of individuals within that, I feel that being in the Czech Republic, just being in a new country, in a new culture, amongst a new language, and all of those things have just really given me a sociological perspective on where I come from and like my own culture, my own lives, things that I take for granted. And so it's adding to my lived experience, I think, has been one of the, I guess, biggest sociological elements of this trip. As far as differences in approach to sociology in the US or in Europe and Czech Republic in particular, I haven't found that there's been too many differences within the classroom. Both at home and here, we read lots of sociological papers and give presentations, and that's kind of all the same. However, I think just, as I mentioned, being in a new culture and working with teachers who have wildly different backgrounds than the ones back home from that I'm more used to working with, that I think is the main difference of what they bring into the classroom from their own backgrounds. So the main thing that I would say about sociology that is often overlooked by others is I think that studying sociology makes you a more empathetic and less passive human being. And that's because when you start to learn about the ways that people live, different situations that people live in, you can really start to get a more rounded picture of the world and where people come from. And knowing those things helps us to empathize better with other people, and we start to, or really you can't help but care more about others when you learn more details about their lives. And that's something that I feel has really impacted me in sociology, and I would recommend it to anybody. Well, as an aspiring educator myself, I have found just through my own educational experience that any lesson plan that you can connect to your personal life has the ability to stick with you more. And so I always get really excited in classes when we have in-depth discussions with our professors and with the other students. So I would try and integrate that approach into my teaching, and this is something that I have definitely had the pleasure of experiencing in the Czech Republic and also back home with classrooms being really focused on starting discussions and hearing what everyone has to say rather than just a lecture. So my stay here in the Czech Republic has just been so incredible. There is always something going on in the city. It's easy to get everywhere. I come from a state that doesn't really have a lot of easily accessible public transportation, and so that was such a huge thing when I came here, that you can always just get on a tram or get on the metro or a bus or something and just get anywhere you need to be. It seems like there's always some sort of cultural activity going on, and that has been a lot of fun to experience. Holidays and events that are important to the Czech people, and getting to share in those events with them has been really great. As a sociologist, being here in the Czech Republic, living in another culture, experiencing a new way of life is hugely important to my own lived experience, and I know that I will forever be working this experience into how I continue to learn and how I teach students in the future, and I will always be thankful for this experience.